Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Herkman, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Hump Day Health, Simple Chats on Sex and Relationships. Today we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about sex. Now, one of my clinical interests is sexual health and sexual functioning. I find that for many people, regardless of their background, their community, their length of relationship, personality, whatever it might be, that sexual functioning can play a very influential role in how a person feels about themselves, how they feel about relationships, and even just their general perspective on the world and their general life satisfaction. Sometimes these connections are obvious, sometimes they're not as obvious, but I will say that I really feel that sex is not a side point. In other words, sometimes we can conceptualize things as there's your sex life and then there's the rest of your life, but the truth is it's really all connected. And an example I would give about this is, let's say you're having some kind of physical pain. Let's say you feel like you got hurt, maybe you were exercising or something, and so you want to go get your leg checked out. Regardless of what kind of doctor you go to, whether it's a generalist or specialist, most doctors that you go to want to find out, they want to take your temperature, they want to take your blood pressure, right? Because even if those things may not seem so connected, they're still part of your larger kind of bodily systems, because everything's connected. Everything's connected. What's happening in one part of your body affects the rest of your body, okay? So I look at sexual health in a very similar way. I find that sexual health is the kind of thing that sexual functioning, sexual health affects the rest of your health, right? Whether it's your mental health, your physical health, even spiritual health at times. So there's that, and I think it goes the other way around also, is that mental health, physical health, spiritual health, these things can also affect sexual health too, but we just don't always see those connections, right? Sex is not a side point. And I find even when I'm, speaking to someone for the first time, and maybe they're coming in for help with anxiety or depression, or they want to do trauma work, they want to do EMDR, let's say, whatever it might be, or maybe they're dating, or they're in a committed relationship, or there's commitment issue, whatever it might be, or a long-term relationship, whatever it might be, I find that part of conceptualizing a situation is also looking at the sexual functioning, because it could be playing a role in things, or it can be a reflection of other things that are going on in a relationship as well. So in other words, sexual functioning can be a trigger of other things, and other things can be triggers of what's happening in sexual functioning. I hope that kind of made sense. Which is why it's really important to have these conversations about sex, because there's not a lot of places where people can have these conversations that are open. Listen, we joke around about sex, we talk in euphemisms about sex, but in terms of honest conversations where people can ask questions and feel vulnerable, we don't have a lot of those, or people don't feel like they have easy access to those kinds of conversations. And so I find that a lot of communities today are trying to find ways that are culturally sensitive for their communities to have those conversations for, various populations within their community. I find it's really important to have conversations about sex. People are thinking about it, people are having it, people are struggling with it, and something so powerful happens when you create conversations where people then start to feel more validated and feel like it's okay that they're struggling with something. Because we, in our culture, really value self-sufficiency. People feel like they need to, do it all themselves. And I often talk about how, there's that kind of empowerment message people say, like, you got this. And I think it's awesome. I'm all about empowerment. But I'm like, we got this. Because the truth is, a lot of these things that people are dealing with, they think or hope that they're supposed to be able to figure this out by themselves. But the truth is, a lot of things require or at times need help from other people too. And sex is one of those for sure. People feel like sex is just supposed to be something that you know how to do, and needing support or needing validation, or even just dealing with the changes that happen within a relationship over time, and those changes that are going to happen sexually, right? These are all times where it's very normal and really common for people to need help, or just even be able to, get a sounding board, whatever it might be. So with that, we're going to wrap up for today. It was nice seeing you guys. And if you have any questions or feedback, whatever it might be, feel free to reach out, and